Housing affordability is at all-time lows. You have to have been living under a rock to not see how unaffordable housing is. But if you're wanting to buy a house in today's market, these are some tips and ways in which you can get a great deal and make your housing more affordable. Stick around. Hello family, Sir Ashley here. I am a realtor and investor here in the Carolinas, and on this channel we talk about personal finance and housing. If you're interested in any one of those things, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you learn anything and get anything valuable from this video, hit that like button and feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. It greatly helps out the channel. Now, some of the things I'm gonna say is not some of the norm that you hear every single day. Now, you may have heard a couple of these things, but I'm going to go over about 4 or 5 of them, in which you, a home buyer, can make housing more affordable in these very trying times with high interest rates and high prices. Now, be sure to stick around for number 3 and number 4. Those are things that you might not have heard about. Now, let's jump right in. Now, the first thing I'm sure you've heard about is shopping around for different mortgages and seeing which product is best for you. Yes, there's 30-year fixed, there's 15-year fixed, there's something called a 2-1 buy down, in which when you're making an offer to a seller, you ask for credit back, and that credit back goes toward buying down your interest rate. For this example, let's use these numbers. For the first year, the interest rate is going to be a 4.5%, and then the second year is going to be a 5.5%, and then every year after that for the next 28 years, it's going to be 6.5%. That is called a 2-1 buy down, and that's something you can do when you're making an offer to a seller. Ask for concessions, because those seller concessions is what will be used to pay for the interest buy down. Now, real quick, before we get into number 2, if you're not sure what I'm talking about or have questions and want to dive deeper into certain strategies and in the Carolinas, be sure to reach out to my team and I. We are here to help. We help people on the daily basis buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And I'm an investor as well. So I use some of these strategies when making offers and getting properties myself. The second strategy is to try to get a 100% finance loan. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos. Try to use a VA loan if you are a veteran and can qualify, or get a USDA loan, which is 100% financing. Those are 2 loan options that are excellent in this kind of environment. Yes, interest rates will be a little higher. However, homes that qualify for USDA loans, United States Department of Agriculture loans, are typically not in city centers, and those homes are typically priced more affordable. So yes, you may be paying higher interest rates, but it expands your options as far as available properties, and you're not right in the heart of the city or a metropolitan area. Now, the third way to make housing more affordable when you're making an offer on a property is to see if the mortgage is assumable. Now, what do I mean by that? Some of these mortgages, especially FHA loans and VA loans, are assumable, meaning a purchaser can come and take over that mortgage. And how is that beneficial to you? Well, right now, interest rates are in the 7s. If you assume somebody else's mortgage and their interest rates is in the 2s or 3s, you get to take advantage of that mortgage interest rate in the 2s or 3s just by taking over that mortgage. Now, you have to make sure that the loan is assumable. A lot of conventional loans are not assumable. FHA and VA loans are typically assumable, but you have to jump through various hoops. However, it is very, very much worth it, because as opposed to paying a 7 or an 8% interest rate, you'll be paying whatever the home seller that mortgage is, which right now, over 80% of mortgages here in the United States of home sellers are below 4%. So you get to take advantage of those low interest rates. That is a win-win, and a lot of people do not implement that strategy. However, you're not most people. You're watching this channel. This is a strategy that can really get you into a home and make your mortgage payment very, very affordable, because you're not paying 7-8% interest. You're paying 3 to 4% interest rate. All right, now on to number 4. This is my favorite way, and this is just the negotiator in me, the sparring back and forth in the courtroom. It takes me back to those days. Now, before you implement strategy number 4, 2 things are imperative. 1, you need to make sure that you trust your real estate agent, trust that they're skilled enough and knowledgeable enough to make this happen. And 2, you have to be willing to lose in order to get ahead. Now, it can be very risky. However, if done properly and implemented correctly, it could be a huge win for you, the buyer. And I call this strategy the termination strategy. Now follow me here. Once you have a property under contract at a price everybody negotiated, if something happens, let's say an inspection report comes back and there's things that need to be done to the property that you were not aware of when you first negotiated the purchase price, or let's say the appraisal comes back and the home does not appraise for the contract price of the property, you have to be willing to walk away from the deal. In any negotiation, he who has less invested in making sure the deal gets done typically wins. Now, when implementing this strategy, you have to know the mindset and situation of the seller, because not all sellers need or are desperate to sell. But if your seller needs to sell, this termination strategy could allow you to get an excellent deal on your property and make housing more affordable for you. If you're my client, I'm not going to say we're trying to get over on the seller or anything like that, but if you're my client, your interest is my interest. It is my job to get the best deal for you. Yes, in an ideal world, you want to have win-win situations. However, if I am representing you, you're my priority. I want the best deal possible and put you in the best position possible moving forward. And the termination strategy accomplishes that. Let me give you a quick scenario of what happened to me recently. I had a property under contract and it appraised for about $16,000 less than the contracted price. So I went back to the selling agent and told them, hey, we need to renegotiate things. And the seller came back and basically said, I'm not renegotiating. That didn't sit well with me. You see, I knew their situation. I knew that they had to move. They already had another property under contract. So after talking over with my client, we felt that the termination strategy was the best way to move forward. Because if he just moved forward with the contract as is, he would have to come out of pocket an additional $16,000 just to go to the closing table. And he didn't want to do that. But if the contract ended up being terminated, yes, he would have been out his due diligence monies. But given the situation, he was more okay with losing his due diligence money as opposed to bringing $16,000 more to the table to get it done, especially considering that there were not multiple offers on this property and the contract price was above the appraised value of the home. So he was fine walking away. So what I ended up doing was going back to the seller's agent and told them exactly what was going to happen. I told them we were willing to walk, which we were, terminate the contract. I actually sent them over the termination agreement and told them that if we do not come to terms by X time on X day, this contract is terminated. Now, I knew that this situation was best for my client. However, I also knew that it would put the sellers in a bind and the seller would have to concede something. However, what ended up happening was that my client didn't get the full $16,000, but he did get $14,000 of that $16,000. So it went from the seller laughing at my client saying, no, we're not giving you anything, to we getting just about everything we wanted because we were willing to walk away from the deal. So because we got the price we wanted, in addition to over $6,000 worth of seller concessions, which he used to buy down the loan, we were able to make sure that his mortgage payment was extremely affordable for him and his family moving forward. If you're interested in house buying tips, house selling tips, or housing market updates, as well as personal finance, be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm Sir Ashley. Thank you for rocking with me, and be sure to check out one of these two videos next. Talk soon.